Hello and welcome to the She Is More Than Existing podcast. This is one of the first podcasts that I have recorded in a while. I've been MIA on this YouTube channel, not putting out my podcasts, really truly stepping back from some of the work and trying to decide what brings value, not just for the people who follow my work or are supporters of these pages, but what brings value into my life? What matters to me? And I really come into I call it my come to Jesus moments, that those moments in your life when you just start to recognize that a lot of your life is out of balance in the giving and receiving, and that you're not giving to yourself the way that you need to. And not that anyone else is selfishly taking from you, there is many ways that we look at addictions within our own lives, and we'd be able to look at our own behavior and the way that we show up in the world. And for me, one of the big things that's been coming up for me was about guilt. My addiction to guilt leaves me being the workaholic, feeling like I've not done enough. If I did one video, I should do 5 videos. I should make sure that it covers enough subjects that it's for everybody. I should justify myself. I should explain myself. I should try to identify myself in a way that is relatable to all people, that I should have some sort of sense of self, shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And I've come a long fucking way in this world, in this industry. I've done a lot of work. And I got to this layer of in the past summer where I was doing a transformational workshop where I invited in a group of women who could join me in this transformational journey that I was about to take. And it wasn't about clearing out my mind, my past. It was about stepping into the body. It was the transformation of removing the blocks within our bodies to return to where real, true consciousness exists. And real, true consciousness exists out there in that universal energy. It's that super ego, super power that we have. But do you know the universe exists within you? So all that you have experienced, all that you have been through, all that has happened within lives, we build these identities and we create these empires of personalities and personas and roles that we play in our lives that represent this person who is showing up. And so it's built off emotions. It's built off of the subconscious mind. It's built off the programming, the stories you've been told, the things you've learned, the knowledge you've gained, the opinions of people, and your own personal opinions and perspectives. And there is so much. And this is about keeping it real. This is the real Corey who comes into these podcasts. I'm not coming in to give you all of my woo-woo or to give you all of my work. If you want to do more with me, go to the More Than Existing Academy of Higher Consciousness. Sign up. Today, I'm recording this actually the day that a summit starts, which is January the 7th. So if you're watching this right on today, you got till 5 o'clock this evening to get in, or you can come in all weekend. We're keeping the registration open for you to be able to come in and join, but it's a whole weekend event. Just a little plug. But back to the whole consciousness and existing within you. So the power of that super ego that you need, that is a necessity. We don't rid ourselves of the beauty of that part of us, is the essence of our body will never lie to you. Your body doesn't lie. It is incapable of lying to you. Your thoughts lie to you. Your stories that you've created, your eyes, the ability of how your eyes perceive the world around you is in pixels, and then it goes into the memories and creates a vision and a story and gives it a color and a life all of its own. That's your creation. That's how you create it. And so, but the body itself that you feel with, the feeling within you, including the gut feeling, is never wrong. And the inability to be able to trust ourselves, to doubt ourselves, to become the master manipulator of our own stories, to deceive ourselves out of happiness and joy, to deceive ourselves from being able to still exist beyond the moments that take us to our knees, that our lowest moments have the capability to become our defining moments about how we're going to show up in this life, how we're going to exist in this world. Who do I need to be? What am I going to be? And so this is where a lot of my work has been. But today, as I'm processing through some of this and this feeling in my body of some big writings that I have been doing, where I write from the she is places, she's sick of you, Corey. And so I write this thing of, she's so sick of you. I'm so sick of me. I'm so sick of the girl sitting in the couch wearing her robe, sitting in this deep thought and contemplation, trying to be the best human being that she can be, apologetic to the world, apologizing and releasing and surrendering and doing all of this work to be better for who? Who am I trying to be better for? And some of this really truly made me realize that I leave me out. I'm not trying to be better for me. I'm trying to be better for everyone else. I'm not doing things. A lot of the things that I have been doing have been truly about this, leaving myself out of my own dreams and out of the divine purpose that I know is built within the fact that God has a plan for me. And whatever God means to you, don't be triggered by the word. Now, I wrote the book on more than existing. I created the program on more than existing. I've done the work, taken the journey of what it means to more than just exist. I've done all of that. I'm now working into getting ready to publish my second book called, and I'm going to publish it in PDF, not in hard copy yet, but it is called Existing Beyond the Reflection. It is the personal truth. And so when you get deep down into this personal truth is I've left me out. I've left the self out of creating my identity, out of my joy, out of my dreams, out of everything. And here's who's been walking. Well, a lot of me is coming to life, but it is that shadow essence of self. So I started to write out a lot of this stuff, and it comes from the place of the she is. It's like, I'm sick of her. I'm sick of this girl that's sitting on the couch. I'm fucking tired of her. I'm done with her. And I know that that was coming from being able to have the ability to allow the consciousness of self, of staying present, because the only way that you stay with being able to hear that consciousness, connect to that consciousness within you, is for you to stay present, to stop avoiding, neglecting, rejecting, stop leaving you behind, bringing you to the table, bringing you to the party, and being able to look in with love. When you can look into the mirror and you can see deep enough into you that you start to cry because now you have compassion for you, now you're feeling you got something real serious happening. You're starting to step into picking up the lover within. And that comes with the lover cards in tarot. It's that whole essence of, and I write about this in a lot of my work, is about who's your real twin flame. Do you know your real twin flame probably is? Your soul self. What you're seeking constantly to make that beautiful aha connection. Oh, that my life will be so complete with this person, with these things in my life. Well, that's you. That is the soul relating, becoming connected and relating to the essence of what that divine purpose was. And so when I was writing this out, I wrote first. So I got two subjects here I want to bring into the fold. What am I hungry for? What is the unfillable void that exists that are always returning me to shoveling in food or throwing it back up? Where would that come from? And what the fuck do I want? And why am I afraid to ask? Am I that shy or afraid of being belittled and shamed? Who was this girl and why has she been feeding me and my subconscious mind? Why has she been destroying all that I have worked so hard for? And that rises up the self-saboteur that exists within us, that we all have a self-saboteur. We all have a self-saboteur that will return us to the addictive ways of returning back into the victim of our own circumstances, to self-sabotaging beautiful events, to removing ourselves from our own story. And it was in writing through the transformational journey of connecting to the body and then listening to the body as I was writing out and preparing one of my classes that I'm doing this weekend. And I'm working with energy, and I'm speaking about energy vampires, and that we all have that energy. We all have some of that energy vampire within us. And when you can be honest with yourself and look deep enough in, you're like, I do that sometimes. But it doesn't mean you're all of the vampire. It doesn't mean that you're all of that energy. It doesn't mean you're, that you are a master manipulator everywhere. It doesn't mean that you're narcissistic. It means we have tendencies. We have tendencies that we have incorporated into our self-identity, into the way that we try to make the world work on our behalf, into our ability to try to control the outcome, the circumstances, and the way that our lives appear. That we step in and we use the tools that we dislike the most, the tools that have been used against us, the tools that have been used to make us feel guilty, because there is a trigger within. It is the tsunami of emotions that come when our emotions are triggered. Other people don't trigger us. It is the emotions that are triggered when something feels similar. And then it becomes the tsunami that overtakes the body, overtakes the ability to react and respond, because the nervous system, the oversensitivity, is misfiring like crazy. I live with a body that has no coatings on the nerve endings, so my nerve endings are always misfiring. I cannot feel pain until pain is so severe that it should be crippling me in my feet, in my hands, in different parts of my body. So I'm unaware, but how my body tells me, because the body knows, even though I don't know, is that it makes me very tired. I get that sense of resistance, and then I get angry and I try to control the body and I try to move forward. I'm like, I can do this. I got this. So I try to fight through what the body is trying to tell me not to. And that's that consciousness, that conscious awareness. But because we have free will, because we have that ability to be able to do as we please, do unto ourselves, right? As we have that ability to do those things, is that we're allowed to make those mistakes. We're allowed to mess up. But the more you feel the anxiety, the more that you start to feel within the body, you're like, why do I hurt? Why are you asking yourself, why do I hurt? How am I contributing? What is this hurt telling me? Do you speak to your body? Do you speak into what it is that you need with conviction? If I knew what I needed, I would be doing it all right. I don't know what I need, but I ask of you to guide me. But God, place me in my dreams. Place me in my own dreams. And so when you become present with your body, when you stop running, neglecting, making excuses for what you need to do for you, when you stop that whole, my success is to pretend like it's not happening until what? Until the spine is destroyed. I did that for 30 fucking years of my life. I did that for 30 years in a career of hairdressing where I pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. Who paid the price? Not the people that were, blessed to be able to have me stay till 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and not their fault. Mine. Did it serve anything other than feeding the insecurity, feeding the guilty conscience, feeling the addiction to guilt, feeding that parts of myself? It did nothing but feed that. And I didn't listen. I didn't listen. And if we don't listen, the body, that consciousness will teach us, just like Mother Earth. just like the universe, just like those, just like the things that are so out of our control. So when we're present with the consciousness, when we surrender in instead of trying to manipulate and control our way, negotiating our way through this life, and we ask ourselves, what do I dream of? What is my body, what is my body dreaming of existing within? To feel healthy, to know what it feels like to stand again without wondering when I will fall, to hold that faith and that hope, but to also know that I can I can create dreams and see myself to be alive, to be in them, because I wasn't listening to the body, that I literally thought I wouldn't be here. I thought everything that I was creating, and this is why these summits are so important to me. It's why my work is so important to me. It's one of my purposes when I write what brings meaning into my life, is that now I can see the beauty in me and in others. But what brings meaning is that I truly can help others find value in why we should fight to stay alive. And I don't mean fight like aggressively fight. I mean, dive deep until you can see the beauty, the angel, the spirit, the glow, the joy, the innocent child, the purity, the virtuous self that exists within, just like the self-saboteur, just like the victim, just like the negotiator, just like the master manipulator. All of that we can give so much attention to. But can you give attention to the little essence of joy and love and light that is waiting behind the doors in the dream for you to open the door, to walk out and to walk forward? Can you see that? Can you feel that? And so that is within us. And knowing that exists within us, that we attempt to be forward. So I found myself yesterday, other part of the story, I found myself yesterday at the dollar store while I was waiting to get winter tires on my truck, and thinking I was getting winter tires because I was supposed to be in Drift Pile at a big women's event next week. And it would be my very first event in person out in over 2.5 years. Like, everything is online. And I was getting so excited about it, but something in my body kept saying, my body was like, you don't need to prepare. You don't need to do this. You're not going nowhere. And the body was talking to me, and I can hear that inner voice speaking from the body. My gut said, it will not happen until March. And so I wasn't getting over prepared. I was listening to that body, but also still moving forward with the everyday lives of, well, maybe there's a possibility I could be wrong, because I live by that. I could be wrong, but I could also be right. So I will prepare for to be right and to be wrong. I will do both. And so getting the tires on, it took 3 hours, which should have taken a half hour. They're human. Mistakes were happening. People were yelling at them. They were getting mad. I'm like, it's okay. It's minus 37. I have nowhere else to go. Nothing is open. I will take this time and sit and write and do some work on my phone. So I decided I would walk over to the dollar store. I thought I was going to just get a canvas to paint. My body guided me down another aisle. Now I know where the canvas is for painting. I buy so many of them. But it went to the aisle next to it. That's how the body leads us. That's how the God within leads us to the right place. That's how the inspiration, that's how the guru within us that exists in that consciousness when we're present, being present with myself, go into the dollar store with intention, just staying with me in a neutral place, not upset, not angry at the car dealership where the vehicle was, not getting caught in all the energy that was happening over there, but just staying present. It is what it is. Stay in the moment, stay in the moment. So as I went down this aisle, I'm like, oh, journals. I just I'm over 3/4 of the way through one I bought a few weeks ago. Maybe it's time for another one. So I looked down and there was a dreams journal. Don't be pushed by your problems, be led by your dreams. And I'm like, oh, that's cute, but I don't really need one that got like stuff in it. I like blank canvases. Like, I don't need one that has anything in it. And then I remembered last year around this time, I was guided to stop into a secondhand store and pick up a from This and That. It was called in Leduc. Shout out to them. And I was going in to pick up what I thought was a sugar dish. Didn't know why I needed sugar dish because I didn't eat sugar at the time, which another thing the body's telling me to get off again. But I went in to get a sugar dish. And when I got in there, he said, we got a big sale on books. I'm like, oh, I don't need books. I don't even like to read. I write, I publish books, but I don't like to read. I love to write. And I said, I audio most of my books. He says, well, there's a big sale. You buy 10 for $40. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I went on the search for a sugar dish. Well, my arms reached up and picked up a book, and then another book, and then another book, and then another book. And they were everything. When I got home and actually looked in the box, they were Bibles, they were self-help, they were everything that had to do with everything I was preparing to write about. And I'm like, that's so weird. But it was all from that consciousness, all from that super ego that knows the right thing to do for all the right reasons. And in it was a book that was Jesus, Your Life Coach, was the name of the book. And it was never used. And it was in my little pile. And it was a journal. And as I started to look through it, I'm like, that's so cool. I would find all sorts of synchronicities. My messages wrote through somebody else's messages, wrote another way. Like, I'm like, we all speak the same language. But then without even knowing, without even putting awareness into it, I started to fill in that journal. And I committed to answering every single question every day until that journal was complete. And I walk around from that screaming she that I'm sick of, from that place, talking about how I have a lack of the inability to stay committed to things. I quit things. I don't finish things. I don't complete things. That's a story that has so much power that it actually comes out. This year, I created the 40 days of gratitude. Same thing, didn't know where it came from. The 40th day, for my end, landed on New Year's Day. It was so beyond me, so beyond me. But my body guided me, my voice spoke. I texted a message, said, Lisa, we're doing this. And it just happens. And then I'm like, why am I doing this? I didn't want to do this. So it's the same. This dream journal is now sitting right in front of me. I didn't want this dream journal. I didn't need this dream journal, in my opinion. In my thought, if I had to let my subconscious and what I thought I needed guide me, I wouldn't have bought this. But when I bought it and I took it home, life is ours to be spent, not to be saved. One of my biggest things that I allow to cripple me is the debts of my past. And so I had been living into some of the past and trying to figure out ways to create more income and into my life in the way of how can I do this so that I can start saving instead of living. So I've stopped living in a lot of areas of my life and being stuck in the past. But I didn't realize that what the body was telling me was not about the previous debt. It was about how I lived so much in trying to fill up on the material world. And moving forward, I need to be alive. I need to invest into the moments, invest into my dreams, and place me in my dreams. So this journal actually was exactly what I needed. And this journal, its first question, what are you passionate about? What gives your life meaning? And then my first thought from ego, from the shadow of self, was this book is too pretty. I don't want to write in it. My writing's too messy. I don't know what I'm passionate about. What am I passionate about? Now I know 1,000 things I'm passionate about, but in that moment, you don't realize how your shadow leads the way, how that aspects of the doubt of the guilt, of the shaming, of all of that leads your way, even when you think you've healed it. Man, I thought I had this fucking conquered. Thought I had this. But obviously, there is areas in my life which I live vulnerable and real where I don't, because I'm not including me. And so what am I passionate about? Beauty. I've always been passionate about beauty. I was a hairstylist, esthetician, makeup artist, like master colorist, beauty, color. I love to color up the world. I love to do the most complicated hair colors. I love to be able to work with with the difficult stuff. I love to be able to take things from broken, damaged into beautiful. Love to create from that place. I love for people to be able to see beauty. And so when I wrote the word beauty, what am I passionate about beauty? It was so amazing how much I started to write. But what was my dreams? What do I dream of? Everything I dream of, I shut down because I then go to apologetic, because I wouldn't dare want to have an ego for something that I wouldn't want in my life, that I would want in my life. So I'm writing, I want to be able to sell, I want to be a world renowned published author. I want my books to sell in so many countries. And it's like, that's ego. Don't you dare ask for that. Why not ask for that? Why can I not exist in my dreams? If I inspire everyone else to live in their dreams, why can I not live in mine? And it's because the person who's been trying to live in the dreams is that shadow. It's the doubt. And the body keeps pulling me back. The reason why this girl has been back in the corner of the couch, spending most of her time writing, why she has not been able to show up, is because the body has said, it's not her. It's not her. That's not you. That's not you. You are afraid to ask for what you want. You're afraid to ask for those needs to be met because you're afraid that you're going to be seen as selfish. You're afraid you're going to be seen as this and that. So we get called out. And from that higher consciousness, the mystical, magical self has been guiding me through all of these things, through little journals in the dollar store, through all of these places to discover something greater in me. Something that just, speaks of the second question was, what gives your life meaning? Beauty, love, laughter, and the ability to live ambitious, gracefully ambitious, to live gracefully ambitious, to be guided with aha, like childlike magic into grace, into my moments, into my experiences. My grandchildren, my daughter, they allow me to step into a role, into a position to be able to discover the childlike energy in me, to be able to share space, a table, meals, enjoyment, life. But I also included what brings meaning to my life is succeeding. To want to succeed is not a bad thing. To want to be alive is not a bad thing. To want to invest into you is not a bad thing. To want to see you in your dreams and to believe that you can be and to be excited about that, not a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing. So when you start to create that vision of what your life looks like, where are you looking? And who are you asking? Because the essence of everything that you need to create that is within you. I don't get to save anybody. I wish the hell I could. I don't get to do those things. But I can help others be able to become the savior in their own lives. Because through this transformation, through coming into a deeper awareness of stop seeking this consciousness so deep outside of myself, that this is all within me. And within me is not just in the physical body, because your body is so much bigger than this. We have sub bodies. We have this, we have these, we have the astral body, we have our spiritual body. Like there's so much of us, but within it is embodied. When you embody the essence of this light, of this love, that you embody that, the sense of, what am I feeling? Close your eyes, and what are you seeing? And if you see a unicorn and you tell yourself that it is not real, then you don't believe in you. You don't believe in your capabilities to be able to see. If you see as I did, when everything I listen to, and I hear it all the time, you cannot see into the eyes of Jesus or into the eyes of God. If you see into the eyes of God, that means it's death and you're going to die. And that's a freaking fear story. And it is a crock of shit. If you close your eyes and you can see into the eyes of God, and you doubt it, and you let fear override that, and you tell yourself that you're not right, then you don't trust you. Now knowing that there's some logic that comes with this stuff, but what if you're seeing a possibility? What if you're seeing something that makes you want to seek further to know more about something? I've seen into the eyes of God. And the way that the image comes, it's not that it has to be real. It's not that we got to stop this. Oh, you got to prove it to me. I got shit all to prove to anybody. I got nothing to prove. You've got nothing to prove to anybody. But I got every reason to live. And I got every reason to exist. And I got every reason to step into my dreams and to create them. And so if I can see into the eyes of God, if I can look that deep and I can see what God showed me, what God showed me was the beauty in me. What God showed me was the light within me. So if I can see through the eyes of God and see all of that instead of fear, that means I'm listening to the consciousness and not to the subconsciousness of all that has been told to suppress us, to conform us, to program us, to get us to be a certain way. And I'm saying no. Today is your opportunity to walk into your own body, to be present, to place yourself in your own dreams, to be present with you. And I hope in some way that this podcast and being spoken from the Corey, from me, not from the channel, not from all of that, just my personal experiences and how I do still have doubt, how recognizing that when I have doubt, I'm not trusting me. If I don't trust me, but I want everyone else to trust me, if I want to be heard, but I'm not listening to me, if I'm not listening to the me that exists within me, the me that is deeper and more brilliant and brighter than our shadow selves, our fears, our insecurities, when we start listening to all that, we stop manipulating ourselves. We stop doubting ourselves. We meet our truth. And when you meet with your truth, when you meet with that beauty, so my whole sense of what matters to me, what I'm passionate about is to help others see beauty and what beauty really means. And I hope in some way that you can connect into you, that you stop seeking so far out of yourself and start coming into you, to allow yourself to know that your body speaks to you. It will never lie to you. It tells you a truth that most times we don't even want to face. But when we do, when we wrap our loving arms, when we become the mother, the nurturer, the father, the everything that we need to be for ourselves, we stop holding other people accountable and we hold ourselves accountable, and we start to walk forward by staying present with who we are in the moment. Much, much love. Thank you for joining me. And if you want to know more about my work, there is another YouTube channel. It is Corey Thorne, the spiritual teacher, healer. You can go to that one. I do my monthly Zodiac videos. And you can also go to my website, CoreyThorne.com. You can do your card of the day. You can book a personal appointment with me, only till April. And then you can also get in on many of my group coachings that I have coming. More Than Existing, the program, the level 1, has just been broken down into a 5-part program, making it more affordable, more achievable, and more available to people over the years. So I'm not just teaching once or twice a year. You can be in whichever level and just go back and do the other ones. But I am moving forward. I'm evolving, but I'm taking me with me this time, taking my body, taking the consciousness that exists within, listening to it, and stepping into my dreams and into my life, because she is more than just existing. And she is no longer hiding behind all that she thought she was. Much love. Thank you. And have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye bye.